Now we have come to the other woman, Camilla. Camilla has entered the picture. And he says that Willie knew for a long time that there was another woman. He put two and two together. It didn't take a genius to figure this out. And Harry says, well, I didn't know anything about it. I was just too young to know. And that makes sense. Also, that's not like they were ever with their dad. I mean, they were always off at school. So, good detective work, William, but I don't blame you, Harry, for not realizing it. So now that his mother has passed away, although he continues to not refer to her as passed away, she has disappeared. He never says dead. Disappeared. So now Charles is ready to move on with his life, to move on to the part that he wishes that he had lived openly and out loud his entire adult life. And he tells his sons that he wants them to meet Camilla. William has to go first. So he goes and he has tea with Camilla, and it's fine. Harry asks him about it when he comes back, and William is sort of tight-lipped about it. He says she was gracious. It wasn't as bad as he thought it would be. He's just glad that it's over, and if it makes Pa happy, let's just be supportive. Then it's Harry's turn, and Harry says, I have a dim recollection of Camilla being just as calm or bored as me. What is with these jabs? Like, does he know how this comes across? I mean, surely he can't have known how it comes across because he cares so much about what other people think that if he had any idea how people would mock him soundly for the things he's done, he never would have written this book. But anyway, so he's like, bored Camilla, what a dud. Go along with my dud dad. And he says that, neither one of us fretted much about the opinion of the other. We just kind of sat there. I think we talked about horses or something. She likes horses. I'm a good rider, It's probably what we talked about. And then he says, but it didn't really matter what I thought because my opinion is next to nothing. My opinion is as good as dirt. The one that she really had to impress was William. So, I was just a formality, but nobody cares what I think. And it's just like, who told you that? Who told you, hey, nobody cares what you think? Who sat him down and said, now the heir is the one that we care about. Spare, you just show up. It's like, no one would have ever said that. You are as equally as much of a son as William is to your father. And he's bringing a new woman into your lives shortly after the passing of your mother. Yes, your opinion matters. Why would you choose to believe that it doesn't? So many choices to believe things that are incorrect or you have no validation for them. So you might as well choose the positive instead of the negative. He possesses no such ability. He talks about the fact that he, kind of annoying that Camilla was there. She was the other woman, but at the same time, Pa needed someone. Then he starts talking about things he has no business talking about at all. I'm talking about the complete and total lack of common decency. He says, Pa had a really bad childhood, and his parents sent him off to this ridiculous place. It was like a prison camp, and he was bullied pretty badly because everything Pa is just got on everybody's nerves. And, he says that he barely survived. I don't know what that means, but I'll tell you one thing. It scarred him pretty bad because you know what he carries around all the time? This threadbare teddy bear. What a loser. He still drags it around. This is literally what Harry wrote about his father. Pa confessed around this time that he had been persecuted as a boy. Granny and Grandpa, to toughen him up, had shipped him off to Gordonston, a boarding school where he was horrendously bullied. The most likely victims of Gordonston bullies, he said, were creative types, sensitive types, bookish types. In other words, Pa. His finest qualities were bait for toughs. I remember him murmuring ominously, I nearly didn't survive. How had he? Head down, clutching his teddy bear, which he still owns years later. What a loser. Teddy went everywhere with Pa. It was a pitiful object. Broken arms, dangling threads, holes patched up here and there. It looked, I imagine, like Pa might have after the bullies had finished with him. Teddy expressed eloquently, better than Pa ever could, the essential loneliness of his childhood. And Willie and I agree that Pa deserved better. Apologies to Teddy. Pa deserved a proper companion. What a revelation. Not about King Charles. What a revelation about the hard heart within Harry. that he could ever, 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 ever tell that about anybody. And quite frankly, if he's trying to deride the king and make him look like he's some sort of pathetic object, all it does is garner sympathy, in my opinion. All it does is make me think, it just, like, my heart goes out to him, that as an adult, he would still have something like that. That little stuffed animal had meant something to him in a world in which he'd been so horribly bullied. And that his only companion was a teddy bear? Like, what? That does not make me feel like, what a feeble, sorry, pathetic old man. Harry is doing nothing for his case by telling us that. And only, he's only enlivening our sympathy and support for the king. So it's like every single thing he set out to do, he's just shooting himself in the foot, time and time again. So then he talks about the fact that he and William gave their blessing. All right, Pop, this is where you're going to go. Better Camilla than that old dumb teddy bear you keep dragging around. And they say to him, we're fine with this, but our caveat is that we would like you not to marry her. Just, you can be open about it, but just don't replace our mother with Camilla. Because Camilla caused so many, there was so much drama in our family because of this other woman. To, like, be with her, but don't marry her. And Pa does not give any affirmative to this. He's not like, okay, sounds all right. No, he just sort of lets it go. But Camilla starts, according to Harry, a steady campaign aimed at marriage and eventually the crown. What a diabolical claim to make about somebody. I mean, it isn't like she just showed up on the scene and she is trying to wrestle the crown out of the hands of any rightful owner. It's like, she's been around for a real long time. And I think that it was all wrong that he had these affairs with Camilla. I think that he wanted peace in his home and yet continually chose a choice that would have only added to everybody's angst, frustration, and feelings of unlove. But the deed is done. Diana's dead. It's time to move on. And if this is the person he wants to move on with, who is Harry to say, look at her coming after the crown like that? I mean, this girl's playing the long con because it has been years since she's been with Charles. So I guess, maybe she really is. Maybe she's that vindictive and evil that she's been out there to plot and plan that one day she might be called queen. I mean, who knows? But he says that the real problem had nothing to do with the crown. The real problem was that she had talked Pa into hiring a new campaign spin doctor, and she was who was over there feeding bits of information to the press, intimate details, private details from conversations that the press could never have known anything about had they not had a source Camilla gave them. And now we see that he is over there conflating Camilla with the press. There is this tie between the two, and Camilla is the press. And all of this angst that he feels towards the press, I think began when he felt like Camilla and the press had joined in league to get her where she wanted to go and to leave scattered behind her plans the bodies of everybody's emotions. And that it didn't matter what had to be written so long as she got her place as queen next to the king. And I just don't know if that's really true. I mean, who knows? But we'll never know because he doesn't provide any information. He doesn't ever tell us anything that has any foundation to it. It's claim, claim, claim. But then it's like, well, you're saying that, but where's your evidence? How do you know? It's all I think. And then, as he has continued to say in every section we've talked about, I mean, my memory's real bad. Like, you guys don't even know how bad my memory is. I can't even explain to you how little I could remember, even back then. And it's surprising to me that he continues to beat the drum of his own incompetence. Why are you telling us this? If this book is aimed to guide our hearts and sympathies towards your cause, don't keep telling me that you can't remember exactly, what happened. I cannot be steered towards your cause if I can't be sure that you even remember what happened.